What is up, everyone? Happy Football Thursday. Football Friday on a Thursday, but it is UFL Championship weekend. Super excited. Crazy, it's flown by. 10 weeks in the playoffs, and we are here at the abyss of, or at the end of the football season, I guess. Now, finally, we're going into purgatory next week. But training camp will be here before we know it. Anyways, we got UFL Championship preview. We have the Jags and Lions draft recaps as well. So let's get to it. Nothing breaking news. Start off with UFL news. So the UFL announcing it's going to feature Friday night games for the 2025 season. It's going to be interesting to see what the ratings look like for those. Having kind of not a lot of sports happening on Friday nights, maybe we'll see an uptick on those ratings. Reason why they're moving some of the games to Friday next year is Fox just got the rights to IndyCar, so they want to broadcast Indy races on Saturday. So they want some Saturday spots open for that. The Stallions announcing Adrian Martinez will be the starter for the UFL Championship game. And I'm going to get more into this during the game preview, but it's an interesting move for sure, especially announcing it this early in the week. They announced it yesterday, I believe. So, yeah, we'll see. Workouts, UFL to NFL here, a bunch going down involving the NFC, specifically the Commanders and the Cowboys. But there are some other teams as well. Battlehawks linebacker Willie Harvey led the league in tackles. He is working out with the Cowboys. Defenders wide receiver Ty Scott. He's working out with the Seahawks. The Commanders continuing to do their homework on UFL kickers, seeing what their counterpart in their division, the Cowboys, did with Brandon Aubrey last year, coming over from the USFL. They are working out Battlehawks kicker Andre Schmidt, Defenders kicker Matt McCrane, and Panthers kicker Jake Bates. Again, Commanders, Jimmy, you and I talked about it. Jake Bates outside. It's not great.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I mean, the Commanders want to do that. That's fine. They're in the Eagles division, so that's cool. Cowboys also working out three other defenders here. Defenders, corners, DeAndre Baker and Garyon Conley, and Panthers linebacker Noah Dawkins. All four of the guys that the Cowboys are working out, really solid players on the defensive side of the ball, which is where they need the most help other than running back, which I would say if the Cowboys are looking to add to Zeke and Rico Dowdle, I would probably put a call into Jacob Saylor's agent with the Battlehawks. I believe he led the league in rushing outside of Adrian Martinez. Just fact checked myself here. Yeah. 461 yards on 91 carries, 4.9 yards per carry, 8 total touchdowns, 5 rushing, 3 receiving. So he can do it all. Definitely the best back, I would say, this season. Matthew Colburn with the Panthers and John Lovett with the Brahmas. Anthony McFarland as well has been awesome when he's been healthy. Other workouts here, the Panthers offensive lineman Jacob Burton working out with the Browns, and the Renegades tight end Sal Cannella, he is working out with the Saints. That will become important with one of the NFL news items we have in a second. NFL news, though, the 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey has been announced as the cover athlete for Madden NFL 25. So RIP CMC.
The Madden curse will live on.
Well, I can't. I mean, I haven't bought it in a couple years, so I don't even remember who the athletes have been. That has it been a curse lately?
I mean, I think Mahomes was on it last year, and he just won a Super Bowl, so I think it's kind of over.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
maybe when John passed away, maybe that like lifted it.
maybe.
His spirit kind of fought the bad juju.
Yeah. Or maybe when they put him on the cover, it helped.
Oh, yeah.
They put him back on, I think, in 22, I want to say.
Yeah. Tom Brady, back in the news. He was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame yesterday, and they retired his number 12. Of course, that would happen. So yeah, I mean, it's massive crowd at Gillette Stadium yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it was star-studded as well. Randy Moss was there. Well, I didn't see who else was there, but saw Randy Moss talked about their time together. More serious than the roast, where he was telling Tom he needed a ring because he was the only guy that never ever got one.
Dude. It's crazy to think that Randy Moss retired without a ring.
Yeah, yeah. All those good Vikings teams and all the Patriots years.
And then he was on the 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Harbaugh.
Yeah, the Harbaugh. He was there.
Speaking of your Vikings, quarterback Sam Darnold is going to remain the starter heading into training camp. He's been the starter all off season, and we'll see how it works out there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that was the plan going in. They're being very, very slow and patient with JJ. I think that's the whole point of drafting the youngest QB in the draft class.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rush him. So, I mean, I'm not worried about this at all. Darnold was signed to be kind of that transition QB, knowing we were going to draft a QB in the first round. So this doesn't shock me at all.
And we have the conclusions finally for the tampering investigations with the Eagles and the Falcons. The Eagles are good. They're good. They were found to have not violated the tampering policy in regards to the signing of Saquon Barkley in free agency. The Falcons, however, they were found guilty. So the statement from the NFL, they violated the anti-tampering policy for improper contacts with not just Kirk Cousins. It was Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, and Charlie Warner during the 2-day negotiating window. So apparently they or someone in the organization had contact directly with those three players in regards to whatever it was. But you can't do that. You can only talk to their agent. So yeah, the Falcons losing a 2025 fifth-round pick and fined $250,000. GM Terry Fontenot fined $50,000 as well. Less severe than what everyone made it out to be, though. It was kind of anticlimactic, I thought, with a fifth-round pick. Everyone was making it out to be this big thing. That it was going to be like a high day 2 pick or something like that.
Yeah.
But the Vikings will be happy with their third-round compensatory pick next year, right?
I'll take it. I mean, we'll need more picks next year. I think we only have 3 right now for next year.
Yeah, well, the Falcons now, losing that one, they only have 5 next year. So they already didn't have their 6th rounder. Injuries. So Saints tight end Jawan Johnson, he is going to have foot surgery. Hope is that he'll be back by the start of the season. Like I said, that Sal Cannella workout becomes big now if he does sign with New Orleans. I mean, he's a guy that could come in, and I mean, he's produced every single season he's been in spring football. Just kind of looking at that shot to the NFL, so wouldn't be surprised if Sal Cannella contributes if he's signed by New Orleans. One extension to note: the Bengals rewarding their center Ted Karras with a 1-year extension through the 2025 season. He now is going to earn $6.6 million per year over to this season and next season combined. And one signing to note: the Jets taking a flyer on former Falcons first-round pick edge rusher Tack McKinley. They signed him today after he was invited to mandatory minicamp on a workout basis. So Jets continuing to get some edge work there with Hassan Reddick not there right now. So they need some bodies at that spot. All right, UFL pick standings. Yeah, you and Alec picked the same last week. So you haven't won yet, sir.
Not yet.
Not won yet. There can still be a tie. But I did win. I got both the playoff games right last week. Lone wolfed the Brahmas in the XFL Championship game, so love to see that. And the reason why there can be a tie this week is because you and Alec are different, and you sir, are lone wolfing the back-to-back.
I mean, I had to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're like Darth Vader, so you're the Empire.
I am, and I do strike back.
I do not believe you will be striking back, though, Sarah. The Brahmas are the only team to beat the Birmingham Stallions in the last year. They held them to 9 points a couple weeks ago in their only loss this season. And they just held St. Louis's offense to 9 points. So and they're going back to play in the same spot. I'm going to be very interested to see what the crowd split looks like. Because St. Louis, I feel like it's kind of equidistant to Birmingham and San Antonio. I never remember where all the freaking cities are in Texas, though, because it's such a big state that I never remember where all the cities are. So
San Antonio is pretty south, if I do remember.
Is it west, though?
Geez. Let me just look on a Texas map since I have it here. Yeah, San Antonio is like very south, like south of Austin, southwest of Houston.
All right, let's do the mileage here. Do the mileage real quick. How much miles we got? San Antonio to St. Louis, Birmingham to St. Louis.
All right, let me do that real quick. St. Louis from San Antonio. San Antonio to St. Louis is just driving 908 miles.
Oh, dang.
Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama is 500 miles. So okay. Birmingham has about a 400-mile advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a trek. San Antonio's further than Milwaukee from me. It's only like 750 miles to Milwaukee from where I'm at. But, yeah, so, okay. But still, I think the Brahmas have a good fan base. I think they'll make that trip. And we know the Birmingham fans are crazy as well. So, again, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the split is in there. And I just again think this defense wins championships. They have the run game rolling right now with John Love and Anthony McFarland. Chase Garbers is playing awesome right now. And with Adrian Martinez announced as a starter early enough in the week, I think that was a bad decision by Coach Skip Holtz. I think you should not have announced the starter until game day, because then they would have had to prepare for both him and Corral. They will probably do that anyways, knowing that they played very well against Martinez last time, and knowing that he's probably going to have a short leash after getting pulled in the third quarter last week. So I think they have Martinez's number. They're going to frustrate him again. I think Matt Corral is probably going to have to come into this game if Birmingham wants a chance. And for San Antonio, though, I think they're going to have to continue to do what they've done, run the ball, play excellent defense, hold Birmingham to field goals, and Wade Phillips get his first championship as a head coach. He's won Super Bowls as defensive coordinator and assistant coach, but this is the first time he's ever been a head coach in a championship game in 55 years of coaching. It's ridiculous. But yeah, vamos, Brahmas. And Alec and I will be behind you. I had to check because I forgot to check what Alec had as his preseason predictions here, because I'm pretty sure he had San Antonio in the finals, or he at least had San Antonio in the playoffs.
I know I went 0 for 2 on the finals. I think
Yeah,
I picked
he had
Hawks and Showboats.
Oh no, he had St. Louis over Arlington. That's right. He had Arlington winning the whole thing. That didn't work out.
Another Texas team.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Hey, though, he did hit on the Offensive Player of the Year. He hit Hakeem Butler. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and by the way, 3 points. That's tough. I'm rolling Brahma's money line. I don't care. It's fine. I got a free bet on it, so it's fine. Total is 42. Under. Hit the under, man. This Brahma's defense, no joke. 5 p.m. on Fox. I might be on the beach watching it. Hopefully not. All right, let's get to the draft recap here. The Jags and the Lions. All right, the Jags, 23rd overall, wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. Second round, 48th overall, defense tackle Mason Smith from LSU. They did a lot of LSU. They had 3 LSU boys. It's crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of LSU flavor. We got 4 total on these 2 teams drafted. Third round, 96th corner Jerrion Jones, Florida State. 4th round, 2 picks, 114th offensive tackle Javon Foster from Missouri. 116th defensive tackle Jordan Jefferson from LSU. 5th round, 2 picks, 153rd corner DeAndre Prince from Ole Miss. 167th running back Keelan Robinson for Texas. 6th round, 212 kicker Cam Little, Arkansas. 7th round, 236 edge rusher Miles Cole from Texas Tech. You want to go first or me?
You know what? I'll take them. I can go first on the Jags. Before they made their pick, they were originally slotted at 17. They traded back with the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So they got pretty good value for moving back a couple spots. Still got Brian Thomas Jr. They got Trevor Lawrence, a weapon after Calvin Ridley skipped town, which I like. I like Brian Thomas Jr. To me, he was the best tier below best wide receiver in this draft. Like at the top, you had, Harrison, Odunze, and Neighbors. And then you had a little gap. And I think Brian Thomas is at the best of the next round of wide receivers. So I think it's pretty good to get him at 23. I liked Mason Smith in the second round. I'm a pretty big fan of him. He was one of the guys I was kind of hoping would drop to the Vikings in the third round. Jarian Jones, I like a lot. I thought he was going to be much higher than 96. I thought he was a very projectable corner. How I feel about getting offensive linemen and more depth. So getting another one in Javon Foster in the fourth, and then Jordan Jefferson, another defensive tackle from LSU. They basically recreated the LSU defensive line in this draft. And sure, it's doubling up on a position, but I will say this till I die: you can't overdraft in the trenches. And then the rest of the draft, nothing really stands out. I know Cam Little, kind of the opposite of the kicker the Vikings got. Rocket leg has some problems with accuracy, so we'll see how they can develop him and work at making him a more accurate kicker. It was McManus that they lost in the offseason, right? They had McManus. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this is a McManus replacement, so hopefully he can develop. So yeah, I mean, I like their first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. I think those are pretty solid. I don't know much about the last 4 other than Cam Little, so I'm gonna delegate that to you. But I think the first 5 are very solid picks.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent draft for Trent Baalke and company down there in Jacksonville. They, with the Miles Cole selection at the end, I had no needs left on the board for them, so that's always a good thing. Brian Thomas, love Brian Thomas. If the Eagles or Steelers were looking at going wide receiver in the first round, which I know the Steelers possibly were going to, he was a guy that I was really hoping for one of those two. I think he's the last true number 1 wide receiver in this draft, because of how tall he is. He can run, and he's going to fit in well as the other outside guy with the signing of Gabe Davis there. Obviously, they have Christian Kirk in the slot as well. The rest of the draft was okay. Mason Smith, solid pick. Not sure how long Roy Robertson Harris has. Obviously, they got Eric Armstead in free agency as well. And they have Devon Hamilton, who they drafted in 2020 in the third round. Adam Gotsis is there. They signed Jeremiah. They have Jeremiah Ledbetter, Jordan Jefferson now as well. So, yeah, I mean, I thought I liked the Mason Smith selection. Not really sure about the Jordan Jefferson doubling up there. I didn't think that was a big need to have multiple interior defensive linemen picked with the amount of guys that they had already. I thought edge, they needed more. I don't like the depth at edge. Miles Cole, that's an excellent value pick at 236. I thought Miles Cole was going to go early day 3, potentially lasting till the 5th round. So I really like that one. Lengthy edge defender there. But yeah, the depth behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen is, I mean, Yasir Abdullah, I liked that pick last year. Travis Gibson has been a journeyman throughout his career, and then it's not great. I mean, they have Miles Cole. They got Andre Carter. Just have to make sure which Andre Carter this is. Okay, that's Indiana's Andre Carter. Okay. Not the good one. The Army Andre Carter is.
Yeah, he's still with the Vikings.
Yeah. I hate and not a fan when people have the same name. Love the Javon Foster pick, though. I think he could be a developmental tackle there. They have a bunch of guys at that position, especially they traded for Cole Van Lannon last year. They got Blake Hance, Walker Little, who was kind of flamed out as a former second-round pick a couple years ago in 21. But they're kind of looking for potentially their next starter because we don't know how long Cam Robinson's going to go. Anton Harrison obviously played well as a rookie last year at right tackle. So whenever Robinson is done. Probably going to flip Harrison to left. The corners, I didn't really have a feeling on. I mean, they needed corner badly. The depth at that position wasn't great. So getting those two guys was solid, I guess. The Keelan Robinson pick, I wasn't a fan of. They have a ton of backs already. And if they only keep 3, I don't think Robinson's going to make it unless he kicks out Tank Bigsby, which would be interesting. As a 3rd-round pick last year. And then, the Little, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Cam Little. He was one of the kickers that I didn't really do a ton on, unlike Joshua Cardi and Will Reichard. But, yeah, I mean, he does have a big leg. Not guaranteed the job, though. They have Riley Patterson there. So that's going to be one of the big battles in Jacksonville this offseason. So, yeah, it was a decent draft for Jacksonville. I wasn't, like, over the moon about it, though. All right, on to Detroit. Oh, and by the way, my Dynasty big board, I had Brian Thomas, number 3, right behind Marvin Harrison and Xavier Worthy.
I drafted him at 10.
Yeah, I had a chance to draft him, and I didn't. I passed on him. I forget for who. But that's one thing I should have done. I should have recapped my Dynasty draft today.
We should recap mine as well.
Yeah, we can. Maybe next week when we're in purgatory, football purgatory. And Keelan Robinson, I had 71st out of 78, just because I just don't see he's gonna have a tough time making the roster. So he doesn't have a ton of fantasy value right now. On to Detroit, the Lions getting corner Tyrion Arnold from Alabama at 24th. 2nd round, 61st, corner Enos Rakestraw Jr. from Missouri. 4th round, 2 picks, 126, offensive tackle Giovanni Manu from University of British Columbia. 132, running back Sione Vaki from Utah. 2 6th-rounders, 189, defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo from LSU, and 210 guard Christian Mahogany from Boston College. And let me see, Detroit here. Yeah, I was not a fan. I was not a fan of this draft here. I have 4 needs out of my 5 pre-draft needs for Detroit left. Edge, wide receiver, safety, and linebacker. So the big one was the Vaki pick. I was shocked, absolutely shocked when they announced him as running back. I thought he was a better safety than he was a running back. And they needed safety help. Like, they lost CJ Gardner-Johnson. They have some guys that they've drafted, though. Ifeatu Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph. But then it's a bunch of other guys. It's guys that are free agents. CJ Moore has been a good special teamer. Brandon Joseph was a solid player at Notre Dame. And then they signed 2 other guys, Shellen Garnes and Lauren Strickland. Those guys don't even sound like they're real people. So I don't know why they drafted Vaki at running back and not safety. I don't even know how he makes the team at running back because they have a ton of guys. Obviously, Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs. Craig Reynolds has played well for them. But then they have a bunch of other dudes as well. Jamar Jefferson they drafted in the 7th round in 21. They also signed Zonovan Knight last year in free agency. They signed Jake Funk last year in free agency, 2 guys I like a lot. So, yeah, I don't know how he's going to make the roster at running back. He should switch back to safety. The doubling up at corner, okay. So, I understand one corner. Tyrion Arnold, great player. was dropping because of his 40 time. Cool. Loviness Rakestraw as a player. Not sure about where he fits on this roster, though. The corner depth is pretty solid, especially with the trade of Carlton Davis. They have Brian Branch, who played well last year at nickel. Emmanuel Mosley has been a starter in the past. Amik Robertson is another nickel. Kendall Vildor. And then then it's Rakestraw. So there's a lot of guys there. So I didn't like the doubling up. I thought they should have went one of my other positions, edge. I still don't know why they didn't go edge. Like, give Hutchinson some help. Like, good Lord. I mean, they signed Marcus Davenport. Okay. But he's been just that in his career. Okay. He's never been a superstar.
They'll be lucky to have him for 4 games.
Yeah.
As a Viking fan, well, you know what Davenport is. He'll play 2 games. He'll get a mystery injury, and then it'll constantly be a tease for the next 10 weeks of whether he's coming back or not.
Yeah, and like the rest of the DN depth chart is a bunch of workman guys. John Kaminsky, Josh Pascal, and James Houston. But I thought they needed more. They needed a bigger presence outside there. And I didn't like the doubling up at corner. I thought there were some good edge players available at 61. The Manu pick threw me off. I didn't know anything about this guy coming from British Columbia, one of the international guys I never know about. But tackle was a need. That they needed depth at tackle. They have Dan Skipper, who has been their swing guy for most last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad pick. And then love the Mekhi Wingo selection. I thought he might have been the best player of the 3 defensive tackles from LSU here. Not sure why he dropped. They really didn't need defense tackle. They have a bunch of guys there on the depth chart, especially with the signing of DJ Reader, but obviously he's in his 30s now. So, and then Mahogany is a Dan Campbell dude. He's going to road grade, eat some kneecaps, and I think he could potentially be the successor there to Kevin Zeitler eventually.
Yeah, I like the bottom of this draft. I don't like the top. I know I really gave the Eagles a lot of love for doubling up at the top with corners in who is it? Why am I blanking on their names? Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. But I think the big difference was Eagles had a big need, not just for getting a corner, but getting multiple, alongside the fact that they just filled in needs throughout the rest of their draft when they had a ton of picks. And the big thing for me, I just don't see either Tyrion or Rakestraw being guys that can be kind of Swiss Army knife defensive backs. When I look at Cooper DeJean, I think like this guy could do exactly what the Eagles are going to ask him. You need him to play safety for a few plays, he can. You need him to play outside linebacker, he can. You need him punt return, he can. You need outside corner, inside corner, nickel corner. Cooper DeJean probably could do it. I think he's the most versatile defensive back in the entire draft. I don't see it with either Arnold or Rakestraw as being a guy that, all right, I need you to switch positions for a couple plays or a couple games. Hey, go do it. It's like I don't see that with either of these guys. Manu, kind of the same with you. I have no idea what he is projectable to be. Although I do like getting guys in the trenches.
He is 6'8", 354.
Ooh, big dude. So if he can be trained, he can be projectable. Sony Faki, yeah, it just makes no sense for him to be running back on this team, especially with just how good Gibbs was in his rookie season. I expect Gibbs to be another just mainstay in that offense, along with Montgomery. Did they still have Montgomery? I don't think. He was a 2-year contract. Yeah. So I mean, he probably should be safety. I really like Wingo and I really like Mahogany. I think the last two picks are my two favorites. But yeah, I mean, I I just have a completely different feeling with the Lions going defense back in their first two picks as I do with the Eagles because of just so many different things. You know, Eagles had a lot more picks. Lions didn't have a ton of picks to play with. Cooper DeJean can play anywhere in the defensive backfield. I don't see Ray Shaw or Arnold being like Swiss Army knife guys. And I just, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me in the same way it did with the Eagles.
Yeah, Arnold, outside corner, Rakestraw, nickel. That's where I have it right now, anyways. But yeah, going back to the needs that I had left. So, like I already kind of talked about the edge. Wide receiver, though, dude, I hate this wide receiver depth chart, to be honest. Like, Amon-Ra, of course, is awesome. They still haven't got it from Jameson Williams yet. Like, first rounder in 22 has not produced. They signed, or they have Khalif Raymond, who's predominantly been a returner throughout his career, but has done some nice stuff on offense. You know, they're hoping to get the best out of Donovan Peoples-Jones and traded for him last year. They drafted Antoine Green in the 7th round last year. Tom Kennedy has been a solid undrafted guy from 2019. And then they have a bunch of other dudes, Maurice Alexander, Doris Fountain, Isaiah Williams, who they signed an undrafted free agency, Jalen Calhoun. I think he could be solid as a slot guy, undrafted this year. They also have Traquan Smith, not that Traquan, or yeah, not yet. They signed Traquan Smith this year as well. Caden Davis, but yeah, it's kind of like the edge position. I was like, dude, I hate this depth chart. Like, they need more difference makers at the wide receiver position for Jared Goff. If they really want to take that next step and get to the Super Bowl, I don't think they have enough weapons. I think they need to get some help for Jared Goff. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I already talked about safety and then linebacker. So off-ball linebacker here. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I still think they could have gotten a little bit of an upgrade. You know, obviously they have Jack Campbell, first rounder last year. Alex Anzalone has been good for them. Malcolm Rodriguez, 22 6th rounder. Derek Barnes, a 21 4th rounder. Jalen Reeves-Maben has been there as well. Ben Neiman, they signed from Denver. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I just thought they might want to add one more guy, potentially, you know, somewhere to get some competition. But yeah, they have Sione Vaki as the starting kick returner right now, and the backup punt returner to Khalif Raymond. So, anyways, all right. And by the way, Vaki number 72 out of 78 on my Dynasty big board, because kind of like Keelan Robinson, I don't know how he makes the team other than playing safety, which would then take him off the Dynasty big board completely as a defensive player. So, great time. What do we got for the Jags?
I really like their first 5 picks. Last 4 don't really blow my mind. I like Miles Cole. I'll give them a solid B+. I think it's a very well-rounded draft. They filled their needs. They got really good talent, guys that can make an impact in this upcoming season, while other players can develop and make solid impacts in later seasons. So I think a B+ is kind of where I'm going to give them.
Yeah, I'm going B.
Mm-hmm.
Love Brian Thomas, Mason Smith, solid. Javon Foster, excellent. Again, I wasn't sold totally on the corner selections, and Don't think Robinson's going to make the roster. Little's got a battle to win that job at kicker, and Miles Cole, excellent value at the end. For Detroit, I'm going C-. It did not work. I thought, they got good players. It just there were needs that I saw on their roster that I thought they could have picked other select players there, especially the second corner. Edge should have been the pick there. So, and the Vaki at running back thing, I don't get. Love Mahogany, but and again, I love the players in Arnold and Rakestraw, but not to this team. So yeah, C-.
Yeah, I'm giving him a C. It's a huge red flag when my favorite picks of a team are 2 6-rounders. I mean, I love Wingo. I like Mahogany. I think those guys really are going to be impact players for years to come. I think they're going to be considered steals. But other than that, the only player I really like is Arnold. I think Arnold's pretty good at 24. I'm with you. I like Rakestraw, but I don't like him to the Lions after taking Tyrion Arnold. This could have been a position where you could have taken. Let me just pull up the draft real quick, just so I can, kind of figure out who was available at that time. I mean,
I thought it was edge and wide receiver.
Yeah, edge and wide receiver. I mean, at that point, you could have gone Malachi Corley. Who else was available? Braylon Trice, Jonah Ellis, Jermaine Burton was still available. Roman Wilson was still available. Jalen McMillan, Adisa Isaac, Jalen Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a ton still available for those two positions of need. So, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that pick, kind of in the same boat you are. I mean, I think there was just so many other players that were pretty good at needs at edge and wide receiver that you really could have taken at that point. But I mean, if you're sold on Rakestraw, I'm not going to dig too much, but I mean, he's just a nickel. He's not like Cooper DeJean where you can ask him to do just about anything on that defensive side. He's pure nickel. So yeah, I'm giving him C, a little bit more lenient than you are, just because I do think Wingo and Mahogany are great picks, and I think Arnold's pretty solid. He's a very good first-round corner. But yeah, Rakestraw, Manu, if he can become something, he could be exciting. He has the physical possibility of being solid offensive tackle. And yeah, Vaki is just a huge question mark. If he should be a safety, and if he is a safety, this draft makes a ton more sense.
Yeah, if you put Vaki at safety, mine moves up to a C+.
Same, actually. Like if you say, "Hey, Vaki, you're a safety," C+. Like, okay. But yeah, I mean, not super impressed with this one.
All right, that is the show for today. As long as I don't see anything on the X feed, which I don't.
I've got nothing.
Actually, Big 12. The Big 12 is exploring selling naming rights for the conference. That would include dropping Big and replacing it with a corporate sponsor.
God, please be the Pop-Tart 12. Bring back the mascot of the Pop-Tart.
They're trying to close the financial gap between them and the Big 10 and SEC. So,
Pop-Tart 12, come bring back the mascot. Cook them after every game and have the winning team eat them.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. I prefer the cheese at 12. But,
how about just call them the Snack 12 and just have a ton of snack companies sponsor? Have Pop-Tart,
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I love it. Snack 12. Let's go.
You can make a jingle. You can make a jingle for that one.
Ooh, yeah. The Snack 12.
All right, next week we'll be back doing Friday shows. Off season week 1. We'll continue to do our draft recaps, Chiefs and Cowboys next week. And we have the Packers and Bucks on Monday's show. And then, maybe on Monday we'll do we'll look at our dynasty drafts, see how we did.
All right, why not?
But don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. We will see y'all back on Monday. Vamos, Brahmas.